Welcome to Hand Forged, the podcast where real tradespeople share their real stories. Here at Hand Forged, we're dedicated to bringing attention to the trades, fostering a community of blue-collar professionals, and offering support through shared experiences and insights. Each episode will dive deep into journeys, challenges, and successes of our guests. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the trades, you'll find valuable tips, inspiring stories, and practical advice to help you navigate and thrive in your career. So grab your tools and get ready to be inspired. This is Hand Forged. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hand Forged. We are here today with Erika Hemingway with Northshore Magazine and some other stuff.
That's
welcome.
Me. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah.
So yes, I am from Northshore Magazine, but also Northshore Magazine, our original publication. And I'm on the sales team, but I'm also a media host for the magazine for their social media platforms.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I had met you at one of the events. I forget which one that was. Was that about a year
It was
ago?
in the spring.
Right. It was like the spring soiree.
Yeah,
or
the spring
something like
soiree,
that.
which was beautiful. It was at the Hellenic Center in
Yeah,
Ipswich.
it's gorgeous.
Formerly Floriana.
Yeah.
Formerly Hellenic Center, excuse me. And now it's called Floriana. And it's a
Gotcha.
beautiful space, but we had crazy weather. So we were all inside and you didn't know the difference. But
Yeah.
we got to do a little interview, which I was honored to
cool.
meet you in April and hear about your team and Seacoast Cabinets and your story. And I think it's amazing. And this is great to be doing this. I think it's another form of media that is untapped locally here in the
for
North Shore.
sure.
So I'm excited to be a part of it.
At Seacoast Cabinet, Raleigh, Mass., we offer a full range of services from design to installation, tailored to residential and commercial applications. We carry 3 lines of American-made cabinetry to fit any budget, ensuring that you get the best quality and value. For more information or a free quote and design, head to seacoastcabinetne.com.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever been on a podcast before?
I have.
Have you?
I have been on several podcasts in the
way.
past. Yes.
What ones?
Most recently, I was on Mom's Night Out. It's 3 moms out of Linfield that started their own podcast, and they do a lot of interviews with other women that are like-minded, that are moms, that have a lot going on and a story to tell.
Interesting. Oh, that's cool.
But so the reason I've not only been on podcasts, but I used to have my own radio show.
Wow,
so
sure.
I'm not unfamiliar to the microphone.
Ah, gotcha. What was the radio show?
It was Erika and Donnie in the morning on North Shore 104.9, local radio station out of Beverly on the FM dial.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and
shit.
this is kind of my story. So I grew up in the North Shore, but started my interest in, I guess, being in front of the camera very young. I mean, I wanted to be Britney Spears, if you will.
Britney Spears like 20 years ago.
Yes,
Okay. Just
original.
making sure.
Original.
You
Always,
don't want to be Britney Spears now.
no. But was an only child.
Yeah.
As a dancer, I did pageants in my heyday, and I really did want to change the world. I thought that was what I was supposed to do, and doing so by using my stage presence, and whether it was through acting, dancing, whatever it might be. But real world happens, and I went off to college and ended up falling in love and following my college boyfriend around the country. He was a hockey player, and found myself living in different cities all over the United States. And when you're doing that, you need to find a job very quickly and learn very quickly. And I got into radio, and I worked at the time. It was Clear Channel, now iHeart.
Yep.
And I had started in Anchorage, Alaska. I was doing on-air commercials for the hockey team. We got traded, I think, within a week of me getting that job, and started in sales in Wichita, Kansas, believe it or not. And so I learned kind of the groundwork of sales and how it works in a small market. And then when we came back to Boston and made a home and a family here, I got to work at iHeart in Boston, which was KISS 108, JM 94.5, we had the Bull. We ended up conglomerating with other local stations, but it was such a great job for me. And I was there for probably 10 years in the Boston market, and I had to go out every day and hustle. I had to knock down doors and sell them advertising. But the benefit is I had this powerhouse radio station behind me to help.
Right.
And it was very costly to sell advertising. And when I saw Northshore Magazine have these amazing events, I thought to myself, okay, if Northshore Magazine can do these events that are in my neighborhood, I can go to them and see what they're doing and kind of steal their ideas and bring them back to the radio station. So I started going to all these Northshore Magazine events, from the Bonds event to their Women's Night Out to their shopping events. And Rick Sedler, who was the owner of Northshore Magazine, he started seeing me come to all these events, but I wasn't a buyer or a client, and I'm coming by myself.
Right.
So he's like, who are you? And what are you doing here?
Right.
And I kind of would skate around him and be like, oh, I'm just here to check it out. It's cool. And they actually had a video team. This was probably 10 or so years ago, that they were taking shots of the people in the audience that were like, oh, what do you think of the Northshore Magazine event? Like, give us a little snippet, as we do now with social media. But back then it was a bigger camera crew. And I said something along the lines of like, this is the best event. Northshore Magazine always has amazing events. I can't wait to come back. And he was like, okay, I'm going to pay you to do this and come back. And so when you come to my events, you're working for me. You're not scouting out the competition, and you can't give out your business cards. So it was actually a great deal for the two of us. I was no longer poaching his clients. I was now helping him. And I also saw the benefit of both. I saw clients that could be both in the magazine and both on radio. And he gave me a shot, ultimately. And one of the first events that we did was at the Salem Waterfront Hotel. It was with Sean Stellato, who was just recently an influencer for us. And it was his No Backing Down movie event gala. This was my audition. So now Rick and his sons that all now work for the magazine, they were new into the video scene. They're miking me up. We have no idea what we're doing, but we are making it work. And we've got NFL players out the door. We've got sponsors out the door. And I'm now put in the middle, and they're saying, go, make it work. So now I'm interviewing. I mean, I remember interviewing Patrick Chung and being like, this is so cool. Like, what? I don't even know what I'm doing. But when you are thrown into the fire like that, you have to learn. Yeah. And then I got some media coaching from one of a fellow friend of the magazine, Eric Cox. He has his own media prepared type company. And I started working for the magazine part-time and doing radio. And it was a great working relationship. Fast forward, there was this radio station on the North Shore called Northshore 1049. The owner was looking to do a music change. They wanted something more young. They wanted another female on the show. And he found me and was like, I'm going to create a position just for you. I want you to sell and come in and be on the morning show. And this was a perfect opportunity for me to sell and do the morning show. And then also I was able to somehow negotiate bringing in Rick and the Northshore Magazine family to like, tell us about the Bonds event. Tell us about whatever event you have coming up.
Right.
And we could partner together. But meanwhile, while this is happening on a personal level, I was now selling my house, going through a divorce, having a 2-year-old, and blowing up what I knew was my normal everyday today life. And then we have a global pandemic. Let's just add that to everything.
Throw that cherry right on top.
So I had a lot going on. So when you sent me the questions ahead of time in terms of like, I'd love to talk about your goals, I'm like, well, you asked me 5 years ago, my goals were one way and then they turned. But we started doing this morning show. It was amazing until we had to kind of go underground. We lost a lot of our advertisers and funding. And unfortunately, that radio station ended up selling to a rock station.
Gotcha.
And
wait, so did the pandemic hurt advertising for radio?
It locally at Northshore 1049, yes. I think at iHeart they were still doing fine. They had national sponsors, but on the local level, they couldn't keep up.
Right.
Like for example, we were in downtown North Beverly, and like across the way, we had a little restaurant. They're like, we have to close our doors. We can't be giving you thousands of dollars in advertising money.
Right.
But some did stick with us, but
makes sense.
To pay the bills on that building and for
so the smaller businesses, because they were struggling, weren't able to pay for advertising, and
therefore
that's kind of slowed you guys down.
Yeah,
makes sense.
And we were doing it from our basement too. It wasn't like the same, and people weren't commuting anymore. They weren't listening the same way that they were listening before. But what ended up happening is we had done a lot with a local Senator Bruce Tarr. He covered the North Shore, Merrimack Valley area, and he and I worked closely together on like fundraising and doing other things for the restaurants. And so I actually got into doing some video work for our restaurants, and we did this local eat show. My co-host Donnie and I, we would go to different restaurants and almost we did it for free. We were just going to say, hey, look on Facebook, look on Instagram. Here we are at this restaurant. Come check it out. We're giving out a gift card. Like, make sure you follow, whatever it might be, because we were all struggling. We also had nothing to do,
Right.
for that matter.
Right. And everybody wanted the restaurants to open back up. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so from there, I ended up getting an opportunity to go work for the state. So I had been close to the senator and then some of the state reps. I was listening to them and talking to them and seeing about how I could help them in communications, in social, video, podcasting, radio, whatever it might be. But I had come from being on a morning show 5 days a week, going in 6 to 10 a.m. and then selling, to then now commuting to Boston and working for the government was a...
That's a big change.
Yeah.
What did you do for the government?
So I was a director of communications, ultimately, and I ran social media for the House of Representatives. But I wanted to change the world and make it better. And you can't do that from the State House as fast as you want to.
Right.
And when you're coming from a sales role where you're making things happen every day, every minute, and you have things that are in the way
that's tough.
on the state level, that was not the position that was what I hoped it to be.
Right.
Unfortunately. But I learned a lot.
It's good.
And
I'm sure you met some good people.
I met some great people. I met some people that I also weren't great.
Right. Which are everywhere.
Yes. But what I did learn was I learned about government funding and government grants. And I ended up taking that to the Museum of Science in Boston. And I worked for the National Philanthropy team on their STEM education program and did national fundraising, which also amazing. But I'm now commuting to Boston. Same thing, not as fast-paced level that I wanted to be at. Fast forward with my personal life. My son is older. My ex and I are in good terms. I'm now dating somebody. I'm up in Newburyport on a date, and Rick, the owner of the magazine, sits next to me at the bar. And I'm like, wait, where have you been? I haven't seen you since the pandemic, yada, yada, yada. He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I'm on a date. And he's like, our offices, they used to be in Andover, moved to Newburyport. And he's like, why don't you work for me full time? And because of the pandemic, the events for Northshore Magazine had stopped altogether. Right. I stopped doing part-time work for them, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. Why don't I work for you full-time? This is a great idea. So that was last October of 2023. So here we are, a year full circle that I've been with the magazine full-time.
That's crazy.
Yes. So that's the quick version of this roller coaster ride.
Talk to me like time frame wise, like how long did all this go on for?
So
I guess, all right. So pandemic, right?
Yeah. So it'll be 5 years.
That's a lot in 5 years.
Tell me about it. Meanwhile, trying to stay sane, stay in shape, not
drink enough water.
Oh, exactly. Sleep. I don't know. So yes, so when you asked, I'm like, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta get in.
That is a lot.
Yes.
So it's funny because we were just talking about Rick, and I was telling you, I met Rick.
Yeah.
I've met Rick a couple of times. We've shot the shit a bunch of times. I love the events.
Thank you.
I think by far the best events on the North Shore.
And I appreciate, trust me, when you had posted something on your social media that said Northshore Magazine should win a Bonds Award for our
best
events.
Party. Yeah.
And I mean, that went around our team, and it was just like,
that.
this is amazing. This is what we want,
Yeah. Well, and it'd be fun if you actually did that. You know
agreed,
what I mean?
totally.
Create a Bonds Award for that, and obviously give it to
there's
yourselves.
no winner. Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's us.
But I go to a lot of events, right?
Yes.
The networking is big for me. Obviously, I'm in business, and I got a lot going on. So, I go to a lot of events, and I there is not a better party that's thrown than you guys throw.
Well, and I agree, and that's why I was so drawn to them to begin with.
Yeah.
That's where I wanted to be. The people that were there, the sponsors that were there, the clientele.
Yeah, the people are awesome.
Well, and what Northshore Magazine has done, not only with their advertisers, but with me, it's a family.
Right.
And when you go, you're like, I know my family's going to be there.
Right.
Because now you're a family member of the magazine.
Nice. I'm like a long lost cousin.
Yeah, but that's what it is. And it helps that Rick and Pam, his wife, are the owners, and their 3 boys have all worked there at some capacity and have created a family within us. And whether you're a part-time employee or a full-time, or you're a part-time advertiser or a full-time advertiser, you're part of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And that's what the North Shore is so special.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's I've always had a hard time. So my biggest thing, right? There's so many ways to market and advertise in business, right? So many ways.
Yeah.
For me, number one is shaking hands, talking to people, face to face, eye to eye. It's just the best marketing for me.
Agreed.
And if I go back through my, past 30 invoices that we've sent out, I can go through each one of those and tell you exactly how I know that person, where I met them, all that type of stuff.
Agreed.
We get a lot of traffic from SEO, we get a lot of traffic from social media, all that type of stuff, but all of those closed sales literally come from relationships.
Yeah.
And so I have a hard time, right, with all these different avenues that you can pick. You can do radio, you can do all these different things, right? Trying to advertise, like put my money into print marketing is such a hard sell for me. And that's always been my hang up, right? Because I've thought about it. They've asked me to do it and stuff. I'm always like, I don't know. Every person that I talk to is like, you're stupid if you don't, first of all, especially with that publication.
Yes.
And the other side of it is that the events that you guys throw, right? So like if you're an advertiser, like obviously you get in all the communications and stuff, and you get to go to these events. And for me, that's what adds value. It's not so much about being in a magazine, but it's about that network of people that you get to, your family, right? That family of people that you get to rub shoulders with and 100%. Go to these events with and do all these different
Well, then it's almost
with,
like, but it's like a book of your family. It's like a little, and it's interesting because I sold against print for a very long time.
Right.
Because I was selling audio.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, and as the geriatric millennial that I am, I actually
geriatric. No.
Yes, I'm on like the beginning of the millennial years. But having the magazine like to hold and touch and show and it's just something really special about it because you're like, no, but I'm in this and I can show it to you, and it has a shelf life versus. Radio comes and goes really quickly. I mean, now with podcasts and social media, you can refer back to it, but it's a totally different.
Completely different
ball game.
Right.
And I think that having the magazines, when you're at the event, you see them on the table and you flip to your page. You flip to see, I was just featured, or here's my ad, or look at me and my kids, or whatever it is. And then you have that and you can hold it and bring it to the next thing.
Yeah. So Banter Barber. That's what they do.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's cool. You're like, do you want to look at this?
Because I was talking to Tom last time I was over there, and he, Tom is. Right? So I was talking to Tom, and I was like, dude, what do you think about like advertising in print? I noticed that you guys do it, and he's like, I fucking love it. He was all for it. He's like, let me show you this, and he's like flipping pages and stuff, and it's like, it's tangible. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's tangible. You can touch it. It's like it's there.
Well, there's something to be said about that.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that all media has benefits, whether it's a billboard or TV or radio or print or social media. And it's hard because if you had millions of dollars, yes, do it all.
Right.
You want to be heard, seen, touched, tasted,
Right.
But that's not everyone doesn't have that kind of budget.
Yeah.
And you also want to do it organically enough that you don't sound like you're shoving it down somebody's throat.
Right.
Either.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean, talk about challenges. That's where I have to sell myself, sell the publication, sell the events, and also do it within somebody's budget.
Yeah.
And give them everything. But I think the best part is the events and the networking that comes along with it.
Yeah.
And that is my biggest challenge too, being at the events. I want to go talk to everybody and go introduce them and say, hey, you need to come meet this person because they bought a house and they need new cabinets or whatever it might be. But I have to do all the hosting and the interviewing, which is my favorite part.
Right.
But then I can't actually do my other favorite part. So that's the hardest. That's the hardest thing.
What about getting like an administrative assistant or something like
that?
Well,
trust me, it's in the works. We discussed it. I'd love to have like a little mini me, but I know that the other salespeople and the other staff also need that.
Yeah.
And we have our editor and our publisher and the owner, and I want to replicate them too because I want Paul to be, who's our publisher of the magazine, to be here on meetings with me, but then I also need him to like approve things that I can't approve because he's the guy in charge. Or I'm like, can you drive while we're going somewhere? And he jokes, he's like, I'm your assistant. He's like, I have 5 of you. You know that, right?
I'm your boss, but I'm your assistant.
Yeah. I'm always like, but can you help me, please? So, and I'm not afraid to ask, but I just wish that we had more of everything.
So how many employees, like how many people on the team?
It's about 10 full-time employees, but we're all spread out because the editor, she's on the road, but we have freelance writers. So I wouldn't consider them part of that team.
Yeah.
The owners, we have our accounting. We have Christina and Paxton who are doing our social and digital. Kyle, who's one of the sons of Rick, he's on the sales team, but also does so much more than that. And then Carrie and Andrea are on the sales team, and that's solely their main focus. And then I'm kind of a hybrid person that's doing the media hosting and the sales and sort of social media when I can. But we all wear many hats, and we luckily all work pretty cohesive together in terms of like, okay, who can pick up the pieces? I mean, we have an events person too. So and we're trying to have more. It's just time and energy and money.
Yeah, time, energy, money.
You know?
It's everybody's hang up.
Yes.
You know?
Well, I feel like this, we were like this pre-pandemic, and then everyone kind of took a break, and we could work from home and not be as crazy. And now we're right back up to that. Like, I have 3 places to be all over the state this evening, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that and also make sure my child is being taken care of. And not to mention, like, where am I eating in there or sleeping or
drinking water or eating and like doing all the things
there's
that
no
you have
water
to do to
drinking.
survive.
No. Yeah.
No water drinking.
No, well, I want to. It's just not an option.
Yeah.
You know?
Toughest part about drinking, so I drink a gallon a day. I did the 75 hard thing. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
So I did that last October with my sons. I'm the only one that completed it. They both did not. But since then, I've been drinking a gallon of water a day.
Oh, good.
So I have my water bottle.
Yep.
So 4 of those a day. 1 before 9, 1 before 12, 1 before 3,
Whoa.
1 before 6. Problem is,
How much do you have time to pee?
that's what I'm saying. It's like drinking the water is easy.
Yeah.
Trying to find a place to pee every 15 minutes is the hard part. You know, especially when I'm on the go. Like, you know, here, there.
I get
doing
it.
this thing. I know where every clean public bathroom is in like a 30-mile radius.
This screams editorial for me. We're going to do an interview to say, where are all the best bathrooms on the North Shore? What locations are they in? Because you need to drink water. I mean,
great idea.
I think it'd be pretty clever. Especially, I mean,
cleanest ones, and then you can rate them cleanliness and like friendliness, because there's some that are clean, but then you
situation.
go in parking, right?
I mean, that's half the battle.
And that's a big thing too, because like you're short time and you have to pee, and you're mixing your pee in with like stuff that you have to do. So you have to make sure that the parking is good.
No, I did. Well, it's interesting too, because now I'm like an on the road salesperson. I'm always in my car. I feel like I have many water bottles just rolling around in the back from the nice expensive ones. And I've got like the plastic disposable like crunching in the front seat.
Half full.
Yeah.
3/4 full. Some of them don't have a top.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. My son got in the car. He's like, "Can I have some water?" I'm like, "Good luck."
Take your pick. I don't know.
Like,
I don't know how old they are. But
I don't know what's in them. But I know. Like that one might have a liquid IV in it. That one might be alcohol. I don't know.
If it smells like vodka, throw that one away.
Do you remember those days? Oh my God.
What days?
Well, when
like
you would
yesterday?
No. I mean, like when you were, okay, I'm thinking back of college. I remember having water bottles in your room, in your dorm room, and you'd take one to the gym, and it would be the one that was not water.
Yep.
And slam that on the treadmill and relive all of the memories from the night before.
Yeah,
flashing back.
I just got like a little nauseous thinking about it.
Thinking about that. No.
I remember going to the gym once. So I used to go to the gym no matter what. If I was hungover, then I'd go to the gym just to punish myself for drinking too much.
Dedication.
I vomited in the trash barrel at the gym more times than probably anybody. And there was one day, same thing. I was like really hungover. I'm going to go and get it in, right? And I get do the stairs, right? I did the stairs for 15 minutes. I'm like sweating whiskey, and I'm like, this is terrible. And then I had my water bottle and swig. I don't know what it was, but it was definitely booze. And I didn't make it to the trash barrel.
No. Were you banned forever?
No. I mean,
good.
I got a lot of funny stares because they could tell I definitely didn't have a stomach bug because my vomit did not.
Okay.
Smelled like whiskey.
Continue. Moving on to So, what we've learned from this episode is where the bathrooms are and what not to drink. Okay.
Right. And be careful of those water bottles.
Yeah. Great.
I guess back on track, right? What do you think? You know, you're obviously you have your role and you're doing your thing and you're bouncing around and stuff. Like, kind of, what are your goals with the company? And we talked a little bit before, like obviously your goals 5 years ago are different now than they were 5 years ago. Like, you know, where do you think this thing goes? Like, where do you want to be with the company? You know, where do you want to see the company go? Is there things that you want to see done? Like,
totally. You know, it's interesting because when I was at iHeart, I was on the sales team and really loved it. I had amazing clients. And in my head, I was like, okay, we're going to go now to management from here and then maybe go to a regional or a national level. And at the time too, I was like, I remember living in North Andover and being like, I want to get a bigger house and have more children. And that's the trajectory that I was on. And when you're in that life and you think that everything is perfect and going your way, and I mean, seriously, the confidence that was like oozing out of my pores back then, I was like, oh, I have made it.
Right.
I have done all of the things. I went to college. I got married. I had a baby. I had my house. I have my job. Like I had it all. Yeah. And then when that bubble is popped and gets continuously popped, and then you're just broken down over and over and over again. If you had said that to me then, I wouldn't have believed it. And I wouldn't have believed either how you have to just keep going. And with the magazine, I always wanted to continue to work with them on the video side. And I remember at the high point, I had hosted the Bonds event. It was my 5th year. And now I felt like I knew what I was doing. Like I knew the clients, I knew the people. I could do this. Like I could do my video interviewing in my sleep. And then again, kind of brought back to reality when I started a morning show, having to talk for 4 hours every day about what was going on the North Shore and what was going on in my life, which I did not want to talk about.
Right.
And that was the hardest part because it is the most, it's the best way to get people to actually like you, believe it or not, is to talk about the struggle that you're going through.
For sure.
But it's the hardest thing to do. And being very fresh out of a separation, selling your house, dealing with money, babies, you don't know how to talk about it.
Right.
So now where I am 5 years later, I'm like, wow, that actually makes me like a badass bitch. I went through all of that shit and I'm still
kicking ass.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of myself. And I'm so thankful for everybody that's been around me, whether it's my parents or my friends. And Rick and Pam and the family, the Settlers, have seen me go through all of this.
Right.
They've seen me be like a happy married to having a baby to personal challenges, job challenges, and still want me and want my relationships and want me to be on their team and help grow that team. Yeah. I mean, I can't ask for a better employer and family to be a part of. So when we were doing the video content years ago, before the events all shut down, we had Northshore TV was the brand that we were starting. So that's my next goal, is to bring Northshore TV back and bring Northshore TV, to life.
So it's like Northshore Magazine, Northshore TV?
Mm-hmm. So we were doing it on YouTube and on Vimeo, and this was kind of before Instagram had really taken off. And I think we can do it through Instagram or we do it on YouTube, or we create a Northshore podcast, which would be also great. The issue is, would we do it in a form where we'd buy a signal or a station? That's where I don't know yet, because I'm not on the side that has the money to invest to do that.
Right.
But I think if we continue to build these videos that we're doing right now with the Instagram, to say, this is what we have, look at our viewership, look at the content we've created, and then look at what the impact it is having on our advertisers, and then have an advertiser or several back us on that.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go, because if we have an event every single month, we have content, plus we can continue to grow. It's just whether or not where it lives is the only thing I don't know yet. What do you think?
I mean, does it have to live at one specific place?
It doesn't. Absolutely not.
I feel like something like that could live on the road. You know what I mean?
Well, we've discussed that too, doing like a North Shore girl on the road.
Right.
And from everything from having it sponsored to advertisers to just even showing like, okay, this is downtown Amesbury, or this is Rockport, or this is Danvers. Just to say, this is what our backyard is.
And then you can also, the event centers that you guys use, or even if you have, people that are advertising, like advertisers, right? Go to their place of business, go to showrooms, go to these different job sites.
Well, I think it's so cool to see like you in action, building, and the sweat, blood, and tears that goes in with it. And, or even we work with like wealth management. That on paper you don't see the in and outs of it, but to hear like they're calling the client, they're dealing with, I don't know, they're a perf of attorney or something to that effect that you don't see, but you're seeing it on video, and you're like, oh yeah, I do need to like get my shit in order, and I should call them because they trust North Shore, I trust North Shore.
Yeah, Yeah, that's a good idea.
Anyway, it goes.
I like it. I mean, but like, what does that look like? Because you say like North Shore TV, but is it, it seems like it would be more of like a social media type of platform than it would be like a TV channel. Because it's not like you're going to be, having shows on 24 hours a day.
No,
thing,
exactly. We're not going to have content
right,
like a program. But so whether it's called North Shore TV or it's called something else, but that's where we had started, and I had started with them. It was like, I'm Erika Hemingway with North Shore TV. Yeah. And that was really fun for us. But we did, that's the thing, back then our videos were like 10 minutes, 30 minutes, which no one is necessarily going to watch now.
Right.
Because our attention span is that of a goldfish.
Yeah, but what you do is the same thing that we do with the podcast.
Exactly.
Is you launch your full episode, because our episodes are anywhere between an hour and an hour and a half long, right? Mm-hmm. So you launch the full episodes, but you just create shorts from those episodes. They make them, 15 seconds long,
well, exactly,
2.5 minutes long. And
I mean, within the last 5 years, the technology and how quickly we can turn things around is amazing. So I think that there's
AI and stuff. I mean, they use AI for a lot of stuff.
Well, this is where I think we're going, and Rick is a huge believer in AI, and we're using it more and more every day for whether it's lead generation or you're using ChatGPT to help with a proposal, but something to that effect. It's I think there's no limit to where we can go.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like there's just so much different content for you guys because you have the events. Mm-hmm. Like think about if somebody was following you around with a camera all day. You know what I mean?
It would be amazing.
Right now you're on a podcast.
Yeah.
And like you're talking about stuff with work and you're doing the podcast thing and the sales calls and like showing up and meeting clients and then helping organize the events. Yeah, it's cool. You know what I mean? And I think that I always think about how can it help people, because I started the podcast. I want to help blue collar guys and these blue collar businesses grow their businesses. Most of these people are very good at their trade, but some of them struggle in business, right? So I want to bring people on that can talk about business and give them ideas and spark that entrepreneurialism and just kind of get them going, right? So something like that, I think like, oh, how can that help somebody? And like, if you're a young, say you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you went to college, you didn't go to college, whatever. Mm-hmm. And you have a really good personality and you wanted to kind of get into sales and you want to see a unique way of doing it, like following something like that is going to give you that direction.
Oh, 100%.
A lot of people have no idea what they want to do. And my oldest has an idea, right? He wants to do something in business, but it's a lot of fucking avenues that can go.
I know.
My youngest, no idea what he wants to do. Sales is such a good place to start because and no matter what you do, you're selling something, product, advertising, whatever it is, you're selling something. So the sales part of business is super, super important.
Totally.
And I think that if somebody were to follow you around, kind of see what you do to get your business and to I think that could help a lot of people really kind of pick a direction on what they want to do and how they want to do it,
No, agreed. I mean, I would love to have a camera follow me around, but I need like full music to come with it too. Like I think I need like, my hype music as I'm pulling into the driveway or like the Jaws music when I'm about to walk into something scary or, oh no, you forgot something, whatever it is. I think that'd be amazing.
So they can't just add that to the video. They actually have to play that while
I have to play it while
happening.
I'm like walking.
Okay. So like a guy with a boombox.
Yes. Yes.
Like a 90s rapper with a boombox.
Yes.
Complete
100%.
with gold chains.
Yes, and oh my God, a wardrobe. Can I have a wardrobe? People, that I would have made it.
The Adidas jumpsuit or something.
And, listen, I want them to be in full costume and me to be in full. That's one thing. We just had Halloween, and we are a very creative family, if you will, and we started this haunted backyard at my parents' house, and it started with we have this like a playground. It has like swing set, and we covered it with a tarp. And we took the swings out, so you'd walk inside and it'd be spooky and scary. And now each year it has had to grow and get bigger.
Of course.
And now we have full like lights that create a walkway. So you walk up through the lights and there's a scary thing at each part, and it's ridiculously expensive and completely unnecessary. But now everyone just looks forward to this event that we've created,
right? And
we can't stop.
That's right.
But it's something that is so fun and unique and exciting because we are right to where we live is on a drive-by road. So people see us like as we're building it and they're like, we can't wait. It's on the town page and everyone comes and walks through. And of course now we're like, well, we need better candy bars and we need better this. Right. But it's just, and this has nothing to do with work or anything else, but it's just so fun to build. Yeah. And we have everyone come over during, the month of October to help add to it. So for example, this year we did a creepy carnival theme. And we have a trampoline that has posts on it. And we thought, okay, let's make the trampoline a broken carousel. So we made these cutout horses and we had everyone paint a horse so that their horse could be up on this like broken carousel. And then we've done gravestones every year. And we usually add something that's timely to either a movie that has come out or politics or something like that. And
you have some scary Trumps over there.
we have not gone that far, but we've had like, someone died due to inflation. They were died in debt. Or like Beetlejuice just came out. So we had a Beetlejuice one, or we had a Barbie movie, a death to the patriarchy or something. But each kid gets to like paint their own thing. Like, there's a Minecraft one. There's a Count from Sesame Street one from years ago. But so each one gets added. So it's cool because people are like, oh, what did they add this year? What's the latest?
I love that.
Yeah, so it's a fun thing, and it's just something we do on the. I don't even know where I was going with the story, but just let's just add that to the list.
Well, I was gonna say in the life of. Right?
In the life of. Well, the video. Oh, yes.
It's a great video.
Yeah, it would be.
I
check out my Instagram. Great.
As far as business and stuff goes, and kind of what you have going on when you're not building scary houses and stuff, what are struggles? Like, what's the hardest part about the job that you do every day?
I mean, my number one challenge is my time. I don't have enough time because I do pride myself on my relationships and my relationship building with my clients. And I'm very fortunate to have had a lot of clients that were former radio sales type advertisers that I brought over to the magazine. That's one thing, just based on time alone. They've seen me work in multiple different industries, so they know they can trust me.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily get to do that with everybody. So when you're coming into a new business and you're like, oh, hi, I'm telling you to sell you something new, and they don't know me from Adam, it takes time.
Yep.
And I don't mind that because that's kind of the best part of the process too, is that you get to learn about their business. You get to learn like, oh, do they have kids? Do they have a family? When's their birthday? What's important to them? So that once you can find that common ground, then you can make a connection. Right. And then I'm not going to sell them just to sell them something, but I think if it's valuable to them and it's going to move the needle for them, then it's perfect.
Right.
But that's also, we have budgets and numbers to hit. So there's also days where I can't necessarily talk about their family. And I'm like, oh, hi, we are on deadline. Do you want to be part of this or not? And I don't mean it to be like a snarky salesperson. I'm just like, hi, are you in or are you out? Because the time is ticking. We got to go. And I got to move to the next person. Yep. And I think that some clients don't mind because they know that that's the way of the world. But other ones are like, oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
What? But I don't mean... And
that's sales. That's the struggle with sales. Right? It
is, totally.
Because sales is relationship building. You're building relationships. Relationships take time to build.
Yeah.
And, but at the same time, it's business. Like, we got to get paid for this, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have quotas we have to hit. We have children we have to feed. We have haunted houses we have to build.
Like, I know.
There's so much stuff that we have to do. Like, we need money
Tell me about it.
So it's like, that's the struggle with sales, I think. Is
it
that,
is.
Like, and it's hard to find that balance.
Totally.
Some people are really heavy on building the relationships, but not bringing in the money. And then some people are really heavy on bringing in the money, but aren't so good at bringing in the relationships. So it's like,
well, and I'm coming in now. Some relationships have already been built with former ad sales reps, for example, and they either really love that person and nothing to do with me, but they're like, well, I don't want to talk to you because you're not my person from before.
Right.
Or they had a bad experience, whether it was with our publication or with something else. They're just, you have to like break down that wall or resell them if they haven't had a good experience.
Which is even harder.
Yeah, very difficult. And you have to figure out whether they're worth spending the time on.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, everyone is worth spending the time on, but I don't have all that time.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest challenge.
Just time.
Yeah. And I truly want to help everybody. And so if I'm sending you a proposal for this event we have coming up and I'm like, here are all the packages, and you're like, I can't afford that, I would be like, well, can we give this to him for free or for less? And I can't do that to everybody.
Right. Yeah.
And luckily, I don't have the final say. I have to go ask somebody. Otherwise, I'd have a magazine and have events and I'd be paying for it all myself.
Yeah, and it lasts about 3 months before it failed.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's good to have the checks and balances.
I know. I need to be individually wealthy with no strings attached.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just pay for everybody's advertising.
Yeah, I would love that.
Perfect.
And just pay for all the parties and have a plane. But it doesn't work that way.
Helicopter would be better.
Yeah. Oh,
for you.
okay. Either one.
Just because around. I mean, you're pretty much local, so like helicopter would be better. I think.
Yeah. Just drop me in.
Yeah.
Along with the music and the video crew and the costumes, we're in good shape now.
The 90s gangster with the boombox.
I'm seeing my future. This is my goal. My 10-year goal. Can I add a driver, a helicopter? I need a boat too. Can't forget a boat.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Half the time, I mean, our events are like in Gloucester and Rockport and Newburyport. It's faster by boat. So
yeah, maybe a boat with a helipad.
Oh,
see, now we're talking. That way you
just
can
need to
drop the
find the
helicopter.
funder for this.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Gonna sell a lot of advertising.
Yeah, I sure
Gonna need
do.
a thicker magazine, I think. Like Bible. Thick.
Yes. Now, well, it's funny you say that because the other podcast I was on, Northshore, Mom's Night Out, they were saying that Northshore Magazine is like the Bible. And I thought that was pretty amazing to hear that. And I felt like we were on an episode of the Kardashians. We're like, this is the Bible. We only trust what's in the magazine.
That's scary.
I know. But so yeah, that's the goal, I guess. All the things.
All right. So helicopters, boats, helipads, 90s gangsters with boom boxes.
But see, here's the thing too. I need all of my friends to be available to come with me, so they can't work either.
Oh, so you have to pay their salaries.
Yes.
Okay.
And their children.
Yeah. Oh, and pay for the children.
Yes.
And haunted houses for everybody.
Yes. No. Yeah. I think actually next year I'm just gonna go to someone else's. I need a break.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen now is you're going to have the town knocking on your door like, hey, where's the haunted house?
I know. This is the problem. I've set the expectations very high.
Yep. You got to keep it going. They're going to burn your house. You got to get toilet papered. That's what's going to happen.
We did have a situation where a lot of kids come in they were having fun, but they're like ruined a lot of things. And we were like, just burn it down. We just burn it down. But then that's not funny because we then had a wildfire in our town the next day. So I was like, I didn't mean to say that. I don't mean that. I'm going to be homeless, but I'll have a helicopter.
And a boat. That's funny.
Yeah.
Cool. So
where do I go now?
God,
what's
that's
next?
a lot. That's
I know.
a lot.
Were you ready for this?
No.
When you were asking me, I'm like, I don't know if he knows anything about me.
I knew a little bit, right?
Okay.
But not a lot.
Well.
But that's what the podcast is good for, kind of getting to know everybody and stuff, and the networking. Meeting
agreed.
People and hearing stories and that type of stuff.
I know. I was talking to one of our clients / neighbors of the magazine. His name is Rob. He is a lawyer at Liberty Law. It's right across, right on Liberty Street, actually. And he's part of Touchstone Closing. It's a mortgage brokerage. And I was telling him about you, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to hear it. I want to hear about." And what's the guy's story? I'm like, "Well, I'll tell you when I'm done." So even just me telling somebody that I'm going to do this, then leads to, oh well, what's his company and what does he do? And maybe I need them, And it's a mortgage brokerage company. I mean, they deal with homeowners and buyers all the time. It's a perfect.
We just got a job from a mortgage broker, my buddy Alex.
There you go. So just even having the conversation about what you're doing, where you're going, and who you're doing it with, lends to the networking. Yeah.
So we actually just recently started a real estate incentive program.
Oh.
So because I have so many real estate friends.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in real estate, and I know a ton of people in real estate, but we never get business from them.
Oh, so
it's
now you gotta do that.
Yeah, so you got to think they're the first persons to see a house that needs a new kitchen, or they're because buyer or seller, if it's a house that needs a kitchen, they're the first ones to know, and they know when the house needs a freaking kitchen.
Yeah.
Especially if you're evaluating how much that house is worth, the kitchen plays a big part in that.
Yeah.
So, but we never get business from them, so we're incentivizing now. We're going to start actually giving a little stipend, like a commission for real estate agents that drive in business. And I think it'll be good just, again, for building those relationships. And at the same time, like I know a lot of people who have started in real estate and just had a really hard time getting going because like obviously right now, like the inventory is so low and there's people that want to get into doing this and then they just have a hard time because there's nothing to buy or sell and they're having a hard time just getting their feet going. So if we can incentivize it a little bit and put a little bit of money in their pocket to at least just make a referral, then, you know, helps them, helps us.
100%.
You know?
No, I know. I mean, I think that referral business is my favorite way to do my job.
Yeah.
Just working with the chambers and working with other friends that are in either marketing agencies or other clients to say, okay, thank you so much for, you know, your ad placement or whatever you did. Do you have any friends that also would like this? and that being said, I then say, okay, well, what's your business? Who do you need? I'll tell them to come into your store.
Yeah.
Perfect example. I work with Kelly Automotive, the Kelly family dealerships, and they were at our Vons event in August. And in the VIP tent, we had this florist that was doing these like take-home floral arrangements. And he was like, these are just absolutely amazing. Where is the store? And I said it was in downtown Newburyport in the Tannery. And he was like, oh my God, I have like 10 things I can send flowers from. And then the next week, she's like, I need to get my car serviced. Where should I go? I was like, Kelly, you got to go. And it ended up working out. So now they're helping each other through me. And I'm getting business from both of them. And I'm supporting both of them. So it just is, it's so nice. Again, back to the family. You're in the family.
Yeah,
in the family
that's one of my favorite parts about business is like making those connections. I've made a lot of connections for people that have helped them a ton, and like, not that I'm getting any kind of monetary value from it or anything. Like making those connections and helping people connect and grow their businesses and find the right people and do all that. I love that. That's like one of my favorite parts of business.
Agreed. Well, and this goes back to my whole like, how can I change the world for make it better?
Yeah, right.
And if I can help everybody a little bit at a time, and that's what I've learned in my old age, that just that you can't do it all at once.
Yeah,
and
takes time.
Yes.
Shavings make a pile.
Yes, and it's over the years, and then you look back and you're like, oh, look at all the connections that we've made, or look at all the people that we know, or whatever the situation is. It takes time, but it's all worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, it sounds silly. It's like Rome wasn't built in a day.
I mean, but it's cliche, but
I
it's
know.
True, you know.
But the worst is that you see the Halloween house. We worked all month. We have it for one day, and then it comes down like that.
Right. Yeah.
So
get shoved in tarps under a house or under a garage somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. So many dead bodies in my.
At least
skeletons.
At least they're being buried with gravestones.
Yes, you know? They are. They are.
That's good. At least it's not an unmarked grave.
Yes. No. No, but it's all a challenge, but it's all great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see. You know, what I like is just connecting like-minded people, like-minded good people, right? Because let's be honest, there's a lot of shitheads out there that are just in it for themselves.
I know.
You know what I mean? But like finding the good people that are trying to help other people, that are trying to grow their businesses, and like, and again, that's what kind of the podcast is all about. Is
I love
like,
it.
you know, I've been able to make really good connections for a lot of people just from this.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I got people I can send you. I'm telling you. I'm sure you have a list out the door.
I actually have some people I want to talk to you about too.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Well, vice versa.
Maybe some advertisers for you.
Oh,
you know, so you can buy that boat and helicopter.
You'll be the first one on the VIP list. I actually had a dream about you in April last night because I was thinking about this.
Oh boy.
Event. I know. Well, and I also have my microphone and my headphones all in a bag somewhere with like cameras, like ring, lights, and I'm like, where is all that stuff? And I think I was like dreaming about. I was like, should I bring it? And I have this, with the directors.
Yeah. Oh, so we were talking about that last week.
I have one in my car.
Shut up.
I swear to God, I've been like,
I'll buy it off you right now.
Oh, I'll go get it. You can have it. You don't need to buy it. But I seriously was like, I have to remember. So this is what I was thinking about in my sleep. I was like, I need to like find all this shit and bring it to him. But I only have some of it.
We were talking about that thing last episode, I swear to God. And I was like, I don't even know what the hell they are, but they're just cool.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be able to be like, all right, click.
Yep, I got it. Remind me on the way out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See that, John? I put it out in the universe and it came back.
Make things happen. Agreed. Manifest the shit, baby.
It was manifest.
Well, I need my boat. Okay. It's going to show up, right?
I'll manifest that for you.
Okay.
Too. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work out. You might end up with like a tugboat or something, but like it'll be a boat.
Like run around.
What I've learned is that my higher power has a little bit of a sense of humor. So like,
yeah, right.
So.
Yeah, I think mine too.
You're going to get a toy boat or something.
I know.
All of a sudden, you're going to get home, there's going to be a toy boat in your yard, and you'll be like, yeah, thanks, Frank.
So it's funny you say that because of the Halloween thing. We do have a boat that's in our trash pile that's out for free at the moment in my yard.
Perfect.
Yes. So it's already there.
There's that sense of humor.
Yeah.
So I guess, we'll get into kind of the last little segment thing, toolbox tips.
Toolbox.
Before we get into that, if you're listening to the podcast and you like what you're hearing and you're getting anything from this, if you're learning anything, if you listen to it, like it, share it, it's all we ask for. Trying to keep this thing going, trying to blow it up. We want to get this message out to as many people as possible. So just like and subscribe. Toolbox tips.
Toolbox tips. Well, my toolbox is a mess.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I'm a very type A organized person, but also a hot mess, disaster. Yeah. But that's, I think, part of the whole package that you get. Yeah. I would say go to everything. Absolutely go to everything you can. I know it's hard. It's so much easier to say no and not go. But what I've learned is even if you don't want to be there, just like going to the gym.
Yeah.
You don't want to go. You're tired. If you do show up, it's going to be helpful for you, whether it's for your body, your mind, your soul. You see somebody that you might not have seen, or they didn't want to go either.
Yeah.
And then you see each other and you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I got to see you. How's your daughter? How's your whatever? And that makes it so much better, even though it's not easy.
Yeah.
And you have to have that internal battle conversation with yourself. I feel the same way about going to networking events, chamber events. I have 3 places to be, and I have to make the decision of which one it's going to be. So that's my hardest part, but still just go to one of them.
Yeah.
You can't be everywhere, but you can be somewhere. And I've learned, even though I put time and effort into something, it might not happen for me right then and there, but something will come out of it. Mm-hmm. When I was in high school, I was a dancer, and there was a scholarship opportunity that it was for the arts, and I had to do a whole video and essay for it. And it turned out after I did this whole application, I was not eligible based on my age bracket or something. And I was devastated that I put all this time and energy into doing this. But I ended up getting an opportunity to be the choreographer for the musicals for that year. As a senior, it was something that was really important to me. And there wasn't even a audition for this. This was given to me based on what I had done and what the work I had put in for something completely different.
Interesting.
And I would never have been seen or even looked at and had this job opportunity.
Right.
That now I felt so special to be considered to do that. And I took it so seriously and had so much fun getting to be a part of this. And then I took that one experience into everything else in my life because yes, it's not always going to work out, but something else could work out, or you could meet somebody else. And I've learned that too from being at the top of where I thought my high was with my family and my job, and then being knocked back down, but you learn from it.
Yeah.
And you meet new people, and the people that stay with you through that journey, those are the real ones.
Yep.
I'll
tell you, there's a lot to be said for the grit and resilience and stuff like that. And for me, I don't have the education. I didn't go to college. I got expelled from high school. I didn't have that formal education, right? But I will outwork anybody, and I did that because I had to. I back against the wall, I had to, and
I know.
For me, it's the best people that I know, the people that I respect the most are the people that have been knocked down the most and are the ones that always get back up.
Yeah.
And I'll take that. I'll take grit and resilience over an education, over experience, over anything else. If I know somebody had a hard come up and is, trying to do their thing and is on that road and got their, chin up, chest out and just going for it, those are the types of people that are most respectful in my life. I think that not everybody has that. And for the people that have it and then get knocked down and come back, like they don't recognize. Most people don't recognize it, but when you meet other people that don't understand that, it's like, man, you're kind of missing out, and it sucks. Like nobody wants to go through the hardships, right?
No.
But, you know, I know a lot of people that haven't had hardships, you know, and their hardships to me are like, you know, that was difficult. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what's interesting too is I remember thinking, like, to me, where I was in my highest of highs is how I felt, and thinking like nothing's bad ever has happened to me. Yeah. And I remember saying this to one of my friends, and she was like, your dad almost died last year of stage 4 throat cancer, and you took him to the hospital every single day, and you fed him through a feeding tube, and you worked the whole time. And I remember being like, oh yeah, I did do that. Yep. But in my head, I'm like, well, he's alive though, and he made it, and I have a house, and I have a baby. And they're like, remember, it took you 2 years to conceive your baby, and in my head, I'm like, what do you mean? It just took me like what? And so in my head, all of the things that I thought were perfect, there was a challenge to get there, but I never saw it as something to overcome until my friends were like, you're insane, because you do have these challenges. They may not be the same as other people's, but they are. Yeah. And so when you now look back and you're like, oh yeah, I have this, but to me, I'm like, well, I could get through those. Yeah. And I can tell other people they can get through that too. Yeah. And I learned that also by sharing what you've gone through, you'll realize someone else had a similar problem or story or whatever it is. And it sucks to share it because you don't want to relive it necessarily, but everyone's got shit.
I think it's important to share that stuff, man. Yeah. Especially more so now than ever, because you know, with the social media influence and everybody's lives are fucking butterflies and rainbows, and you know, nobody talks about the struggles. Nobody talks about. I'm open. I openly share that stuff all the time. You know, and I think it's important to. And I'm not trying to be on a soapbox. I'm not trying to like get some kind of like, you know, everybody's attention. Like I don't care about any of that. What I care about is sharing my story, because I know I've done a lot of things for a lot of people that nobody will ever know about. Yeah. Right. And sharing my story has gotten so much feedback from people that, you know, we're at their wit's end, you know, and then like read a post or like read something that I throw up, and they're like, all right, there is hope. Like I can do this, you know, and it's just so important. Everybody's afraid to, like, especially men are afraid to like, you know, look emotional or look soft. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm as hard as anybody you'll ever meet, but I'll post some shit and be all teary. I just posted for my son's 20th birthday today, and I was all choked up, posted my shit on Instagram, you know?
I do.
But like, you know, it's just, at the end of the day, you got to get that stuff out there, man. Everybody needs to recognize that there's two ways of doing it. Like I can be soft and emotional, but I can be as hard as a rock. I've been both. I am both.
I know. I mean, I still struggle with that because I want to be, not that I necessarily care what people think or how I'm seen, but because I have to represent so many people, that's where I feel like it's not just myself. Like I have to represent my clients and my business and the magazine. I have to represent my son and being a mom, and have to represent my family and not let them down. Yep. But I also want people to not look at me and think like, oh, I'm just like a shiny, I don't know, media host. I want them to know that there are deeper layers that even though I am happy 90% of the time and very excited to be everywhere. Yeah. It takes a lot on the back end.
And you're still a real person.
To get there. Exactly.
Like you're real.
Yes. So that I do have to figure out that balance. One day I will.
It's tough. I don't think you ever figure it out. You constantly try to figure it out. But I guess as long as you're trying for the rest of your life, then it is what it is.
Well, that's the thing. Like I'm doing the best I can, man.
Right.
But I also want to show up for myself, for everybody that is counting on me. Yeah. And I hope that I can do that, and then they can also give me grace that I am trying to do it. Yeah. For everybody.
Yeah. God, I hope everybody gives me grace too.
I know. Well, that's. I mean, I certainly do. But
appreciate you. I give you grace too.
Yeah.
You were late today. I give it to you.
I know. I'm so sorry. I called the Hampstead office and I was like, "Hi, I'm looking for Frank," and they gave me a cell phone number, and I'm calling someone else's cell phone number. It's like, wrong number, lady.
Yeah, you
So
didn't
forgive
respond
me.
to my message on
I know, I'm so
Instagram, and I was like,
But
John,
I was dreaming about you. I was dreaming I would be here on time.
perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
That
it
doesn't count.
It worked in your dreams.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
I know. Well,
And I get one of those. What the
Yes.
hell are they called?
I don't know.
John,
It's a
what? Slate? Like
Sure.
SLATE? Slate. At least we
and
get a fucking
scene.
slate. And cut.
Yes.
Wait, what do we say when we start something? Just nothing? Just click it?
First take one.
Take one.
Take one.
We're doing it.
We're good.
I can't fucking wait to
I
use
can't.
this thing.
I'm excited. Well, we'll have to go get it.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right.
Any further questions,
I think
Your
that
Honor?
was it.
No.
I know you got things to do and
well.
places to be, and so do I.
So do
But-
you. I know. Well, thank you so much. I'm honored to be even considered, let alone be a guest. So I really appreciate it. I know that work and energy that goes into doing something like this. So to even give yourself the time, I think is very important and is amazing.
I appreciate that.
So
I thank you.
keep going.
And I know how busy you are, and I'm glad that you made the time to come
Yes.
in and do this.
Happy to be
and-
here.
And I'm glad that we made it work.
Yeah.
And we'll see you actually
Next week?
Next week.
Woohoo!
Because I think there's 4 of us going.
Awesome. Well, if I don't have the time to say hi, it's because I'm doing this. But know that I want to say hi.
I'm going to throw shit at you.
Okay,
so it'll
good,
be fine.
good. Bring me a drink.
All right, perfect. Perfect. All right, well,
All right,
thanks
good.
again.
My pleasure.
All right, see you guys.